Hi, it's Scott Fox from expertwebsitereviews.com and clickmillionaires.com. Great to see you today. Today we're going to talk about Luxuria, decadence for divas. This is a jewelry website from clickmillionaires.com member Vanessa, who lives in Sevilla, Spain. Thanks for volunteering your site, Vanessa. This is one of the benefits of being a Click Millionaires member. So I'm going to review your website here for usability, product appeal, strategy, and overall marketing approach to see if I can help you make more money online with what looks like a very interesting and potentially very profitable and beautiful website. So here we are looking at Luxuria, decadence for divas. Now the first thing that hits you when you hit this page is this. Hear that music? There's a riff there in the background, some nice Spanish guitar. And I know you're a big fan of that, Vanessa, because we've talked about it in the Click Millionaires forum. In fact, I'm going to have to pause it here. But I have to tell you, that is a major no-no in the world of web design. Why? Well, because you're trying to sell stuff, and if people are looking, maybe while they're at work, if they hit a site like this, they're going to click away immediately. Most people work in places where they're not allowed to listen to pretty Spanish guitar music like this. Now, I like it. There it is again. Very nice, very classy, but you have it on every page, and it auto-loads. And it's a long loop, so you really can't get away from it without on every page, as you'll see as we go through the site together, clicking on it. So unfortunately, my friend, I would turn it off. I would remove it from the site entirely, or at least make it optional. All right, now let's talk about the layout of the site. Very classy looking. This model here, sort of an Audrey Hepburn sort of look. Welcome to Luxuria, an online jewelry boutique, taking inspiration from Riviera-inspired Mediterranean designers. Very nice. Côte d'Azur, Ibiza, Amalfi Coast, and so forth. Okay, we get the idea, and I also like this idea down here. You're giving a percentage of your profits to Kiva, as we've also talked about in the Click Millionaires forum. I think it's very important to reinvest your success to help the success of others. So congratulations to Vanessa on that approach. Now, to get down to brass tacks, how can I help you improve this site? Well, I have to tell you, Vanessa, I was puzzled, and I still am puzzled. Let's do this together. The fact is, I don't know how to give you money. I came in here and I thought, okay, this is interesting. Look at this beautiful artwork design, and oh, there's the music again. Hold on. I'm going to pause that. And I'll say I want to buy this ring here. All I get is these pop-ups, close-ups of the work, and no click here to buy, no call to action, no way to give you money. Even if I loved this site and I had $1 million, I wouldn't be able to give you money. And you know what? That's a big problem. And here we go on this page. Now here we're over on the necklaces, and this time I see a little red. Let me shut off the music again. Down here at the bottom, please place your order using the order form, which you can find in the menu list on the home page. Why is that a secret? Vanessa, my friend, you've got to decide, is this a store that you want to sell things and make money? And if it is, you've got to move this to a store platform. You can't be making people order these one at a time. Okay, and I click on stuff and I get this nice close-up, but I want to buy this. You're going to send me away and interrupt the form? Okay, I have to go over here, order form. There's the music again. Turn off the music. Okay, here's the process. Fill in the fields below and press the send button. So I'm going to turn off the music again here. Email, fill this whole form out. Vanessa, this is very 1990s. You need to move this to Yahoo stores or a big commerce, or almost any store platform in the world would do this better. Now, it turns out, as I look around the site a bit more, that a lot of your pieces are one-offs. They're custom designed even, I guess, and that's really cool. I get the appeal of that. So you don't want it maybe to feel too commercial, or you don't have, say, an inventory of 500 of those same necklaces or cufflinks or whatever. But people are used to a certain level of service online. They want to click on something and be able to buy it and not be driven around the site and get distracted. This is hurting your sales. So I won't go on too much about that, but you know, I can see there's the music and here's the picture. I mean, you know, I don't know how to give you money, okay? So I hope that's not coming across harsh, but I think you need to think about moving this to a store platform. Second major strategic point. Well, here, let's talk about the menu here for a second. I think it's very interesting that you have about as your second item. If you really want to sell stuff, you've got to make it more store-like. But you are here leading with about. And I understand why, because we've talked about this in the Click Millionaires forum. And you give some of the backstory to this. You have a very interesting background. You're UK-based. Sorry, let me hit the music again. You're from the UK, you have a professional background, but now you notice the stylish Spanish women in their fashion jewelry. You wanted to bring the chic European glamour to her friends, etc., etc. The pieces are not mass-produced and therefore made to order. Okay, they take 10 to 15 days. Okay, all of this is part of your story, and I get it. This is why you put about as the second thing. But this stuff needs to be up on the home page. This should be the sexy part of the homepage, and then that should be followed by a bunch of product pictures, which you can click through on to get more details, such as not just blow-ups of the items themselves, but a typical product page. Go to any product site on the web, and what you're going to get is something, not just this, but you're going to get a page that includes this. Then it's going to say what the materials are, how much it weighs, who the designer is, what it costs to ship, what the thing costs, maybe if there's a sale price, and some copy, some sales copy. Look at these, delicate gold filigree earrings, custom designed by our friend Maria, who lives in Ibiza, and da-da-da-da-da. You got to sell this thing, and your product pages are what is missing on this site. So I would look at your homepage again. Think about a store platform, and make your homepage do this. Sorry, I got to shut off the music again here. You've got some story. This should be a picture of a model or maybe even of you. Because what you really have an opportunity to do here is to mix the cool lifestyle that you lead with the cool jewelry. Luxuria isn't just decadence for divas. It's stuff that you have picked out from your personal experience in Spain. That's a good sell. And you mix that here. Here's a picture of me on the Côte d'Azur, and here's me with some of my designers. Maybe a little film strip across the top, and then across the middle here, a bunch of the stuff. Each category, the ring category should have a blow up, the earring category, the bracelet gallery, the necklaces gallery, so that people can immediately find the products. You're being a little too fashioned and not enough commercial, unfortunately. So if you want this to be a profitable venture, then I think you need to productize the whole thing a bit more. But mixing in this great story that you have. Now here's the other interesting thing. You have this blog, and we've talked about this over in the Click Millionaires forum, and I love your blog. Look at this cool stuff. The articles are really interesting. The layout, it's on a free blogger platform. You can do better than that, my friend. I would put this on a real platform like WordPress or TypePad, or pay somebody a little money. That's not expensive to do anymore. Get yourself a real header that matches the design of your other site, so this doesn't look so extraneous. And go ahead and blog about your life. I would embrace this confusion. You say, it's all very spontaneous. There's no telling what I will choose to blog about. But I think what you're selling here, as we talked about briefly in the forum at clickmillionaires.com, is the lifestyle. You said you get a lot of activity, a lot of blog comments, and you have a lot of Twitter followers. I know you're a big tweeter. Here you have over 1,100 followers, and I'm sure there'll be more tomorrow because I know you're very active there. And look at these great graphics, bullfights, and Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz. I mean, this is interesting stuff. And I think you could mix this into the appeal and make this a vehicle for marketing the jewelry that you find around Spain and up across the Riviera. Mixing the two may be the killer app here, because then you can become the lifestyle brand. I'm thinking like Martha Stewart, somebody like that, or one of the many chefs, Rachel Ray or somebody like that. Or Mario Batali. They live this. They're chefs. They cook. They live. They eat. And then they teach you how to cook. This is the same idea I would love to see you do. You could embrace this. I'm Vanessa. I live in Barcelona. I live in Sevilla, and I hang out with these cool Spanish artists who make this beautiful jewelry, and today I went down to the market and here's some pictures from it, and this whole thing kind of wraps together in a really cool sell that I think you should check out. There's a blog called A Day in French Life by Kristen Espinasse, and she lives on a vineyard in France. Her husband is a French winemaker, and she blogs about that and has turned that into a business as well. Something like that, where you're mixing the lifestyle and the jewelry, and I think you might find a really interesting audience, and then you'd actually get to become the person you invent. And if you really want to cover jewelry and go to the jewelry shows, well, you can make yourself to be that person. I'm Vanessa, the Spanish jewelry expert. I'm here to help you. And the jewelers will be like, wow, great, can we get our stuff on your site? And get exclusive deals and discounts and the whole thing. Sorry, I got to turn off the music there. the whole thing comes together rather nicely. I hope that makes sense, but you can tell I'm excited about it. I think you are too, because I've seen your tweets and your participation on the forum. I'd love to see you mix this together a little bit. Currently, you've got the product pictures kind of buried, and then you've got your blog, and I think you could put those together to make a lifestyle business out of this, where you are the figurehead and the spokesperson, where you invite people to participate in the Spanish life you have and enjoy it and participate vicariously by buying the jewelry. I hope that makes sense. Now let's get back to a couple more details before we wrap up here. You've got a copyright here on the homepage, copyright 2010. Obviously, that's out of date. I'd recommend taking off the year entirely. You don't really need it for legal purposes, and all it does is get outdated pretty quickly. Now here is what I would really emphasize a lot more. Please subscribe to our mailing list. You've got this very small font. I think that's the other big thing on your homepage and on every page. Join the mailing list. If you go to the trouble and the marketing effort of attracting people to the site, you don't want them to leave if they decided they couldn't find the right pair of earrings. You want them to at least sign up for the email list. And in your case, maybe your blog. You should visit eRiches 2.0, my last book. Let me see, I have a copy here somewhere. Oh, it's up here. Chapters 4, 5, and 6 of this book will tell you how to actually use your blog's RSS feed to create email newsletters automatically. And then if you keep blogging, you can automatically have email newsletters that talk about your life and your jewelry choices and go out to your newsletter subscribers automatically. I would check that out if you haven't already. Lastly, I think that you need to add an incentive if you're going to do that. What do people get? And you've made a stab at that. What they get if they sign up for your email newsletter is free shipping. That's a decent offer. I would pump that up, literally in size and prominence so that people understand what they get by shopping with you. And then lastly, I'd like to hit this. You've got this Kiva badge here. I think that's a great thing. Like I talked about, Click Millionaires always reinvest in their community, and I think that this should link to something, either Kiva itself or even more importantly, this could go to a page specifically about the work that you've done with Kiva and some of the projects that you have funded through your donations. You've said some really cool things about that in the clickmillionaires.com forum when we were talking about this, and I think other people would enjoy knowing that some of their profits the profits you make are going to help others. Anyone that can afford this sort of jewelry probably can spare a couple extra bucks, and they might be happy to help someone buy a goat or help set up their weaving business in Peru or whatever else it is that you're looking at these days. Lastly, you have these Luxuria designers. Now, these are folks I presume you have some sort of particular relationship with, and you need some pictures here. Here we've got Taylor Kenny, and she lives in northern Colorado, and that's really cool, but how about some pictures of Taylor in her studio in northern Colorado? And then some links. Sorry, got to turn off the music. Some links from this page to the items that she's selling, or at least examples. If they're all one of a kind and you've sold them out, at least examples of her work. And I think that's true of each of the designers that you have, Lucy Q and Victoria here, all these folks. You need to make this a little more of the about us. The appeal of jewelry is really about the story behind it, right? There's jewelry available everywhere. You have a really interesting story. I think you have the personality to pull it off and market it yourself. And you've got these partners, these jewelers that you've already found. You've got this great Mediterranean pitch to it. You clearly have a good design style of your own because the site already looks so cool. But I think you need to commercialize it a bit more, and I hope that the advice in this free expert website review has been helpful to you. Thanks for being a member of clickmillionaires.com. That's why you get this review for free. If you're seeing this review later on YouTube or somewhere else and you'd like a review like this, please head on over to expertwebsitereviews.com and you can get a personalized video review from me, Scott Fox, or join us at clickmillionaires.com where members get free reviews themselves, just like our good friend Vanessa did. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sitting through this. And Vanessa, I hope this helps you make more money online. I'll be happy to follow up with you in the forum real soon back over at clickmillionaires.com. Thanks for watching.